everyone. This is Mike Danaher. I'm an Assistant Attorney General with the New York State Attorney General's Office. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to talk about our update on consumer frauds at our Cornell Cooperative Extension Consumer Issues Program. We do monthly on the second Thursday of the month at 11 a.m. and that's live. And when we're at Cornell Cooperative Extension, that's when we invite you to come in and join us. And we do wish that you would come and join us. It's a question of how long it's going to be until we are able to meet together in person, which we're looking forward to. But as of now, we're continuing the programs via video conferencing. And we hope that people will find this interesting and informative and hopefully help them go a long way toward protecting themselves. As I mentioned before, we're going to talk about an update in consumer frauds. What kind of stuff is going on out there? What can you expect to see or hear? What may sound a little strange and you might be wondering if it's a scam or not. So we want to just tip you off to let you know so that you can go toward protecting yourselves rather than fall victim to it. I checked recently the latest reports from the Federal Trade Commission, which is the federal or national agency that takes in consumer fraud complaints, as compared to the various state attorney general's offices, which I'm a part of in New York. And we also do issue reports as well. Those are available online at the Attorney General's website at ag.ny.gov. And some information just nationally to give you an idea of the kind of things that have been going on. The FTC reported that they received 3.2 million complaints for various types of fraud in 2019, the time period in which that we have the latest statistics from. People have reported that they lost $1.9 billion as a result of frauds. And just to give you a reference point, that's up from 1.48 billion in 2018. So it was a 28% plus increase in amounts reported lost due to frauds and scams. So it just goes to show you. And harken back a year ago where they had the 2018 statistics, that was an increase of about 33%. So we had 33% increase the year prior, 28% increase the year before, last year, 2019. So you can see that it's not stopping. It's continuing to go up and up and up. There were about 1.7 million reports of the 3.2 million that involved general frauds. The rest were involved in the biggest category of all, which is identity theft. And out of those 1.7 million that reported just the general frauds, 23%, so almost a quarter of them are reporting that they actually lost money due to the fraud. The other ones were just reporting the fraud itself. And then we throw into the mix that only a fraction of people are actually reporting that there's a fraud out there. Others, they hang up the phone. Hopefully, they hang up the phone and didn't fall victim to the fraud. And there are some that are embarrassed, they don't want to tell anybody, and so they won't report. So this is the tip of the iceberg of those who are reporting. The types of areas of general fraud other than identity theft that get reported are, and some stuff that we'll talk about in a few minutes, are counterfeit fraud, foreign money offers type scams, mortgage foreclosure or debt rescue, debt relief type of frauds, business opportunities, that kind of work from home type scams that are out there. Those are the types of things. The median loss, which is the middle where there's some higher, some lower, it's kind of the statistic that people use to skew out huge numbers and low numbers. The median fraud, median reported fraud for general scams is $320, but for the particular ones like counterfeit checks, when somebody sends a counterfeit check, that median loss is $1,500. Mortgage foreclosure and debt relief, the median dollar loss is almost $1,300. And for fake business opportunities, work at home scams, the median loss is $1,000. So it can get quite significant. The primary way that's been reported that people are getting hoodwinked, are losing money, is through telephone solicitations. The other categories would be websites, which is number 2, and number 3 are email solicitations, where people are getting emails or responding to them. The primary mode of transfer of the fraudulent funds is through wire transfers. So they're asking people to make wire transfers. Number 2 is through credit cards, and number 3 is through gift cards. That's a growing area where people who are victims of scams are being asked to go down to retail establishments, Walmart, Target, CVS, other drugstores, and go and buy gift cards. You buy the gift cards, and on the back of the gift card, there's a really long number. What people sometimes don't understand is you don't have to have the gift card in your physical possession in order to cash it. All you need to do is to have that long number. And what the scam artist will do, will contact you after you've gone out to whatever store it is and bought these gift cards. They'll say, okay, read me the number that's on the back of those cards. And that's the trigger. That's then allowing them to go online, to cash those cards in, or go someplace and cash those cards in. So that is a frequent way in which the money gets transferred. One rule of thumb with that is don't ever reply to one of these solicitations or one of these calls where they tell you to go get gift cards. That is, no reputable business is going to have you go get gift cards to pay them, whether it's the IRS, whether it's somebody else that you might owe money to, whether it's somebody that wants you to pay a charitable solicitation. They don't do it by gift cards, so don't fall for that. Another interesting dynamic here in demographic is the age groups. The age group of 20 to 29 have reported the most. And that makes sense because they're the ones that are more comfortable getting on a website and reporting to the Federal Trade Commission, or more comfortable using an avenue that's easy to report. So that they report, they're the largest group to report. However, they're one of the smaller groups to report the amount of loss that they sustain. So they report more frequently, but their sustained loss is usually quite smaller. It's interesting that with older adults, in the 70 to, well, the median loss for reported loss for the 20 to 29 age group is about $448. In the 70 to 79 group, it's $800. And from the 80 plus group, the median loss is $1,600. So it goes the older the group is. And so we have to be very careful about our older adults, senior citizens who may be victimized by these frauds and scams. Also reporting through the Federal Trade Commission is statewide. The top states in reporting frauds: Nevada, Florida, Delaware, Maryland, and Georgia. Those are the ones that report the most with losses in the amount of, well, that is in New York. We have the reported amount of loss. New York is number 11 for ID theft reports and number 12 for other general frauds, with the losses in general frauds of being about $86.2 million for that year. But interestingly, on identity theft, New Yorkers were number 11 of all the states in reporting identity theft losses, which is significantly greater than last year, because last year we were 22nd in reporting. Now we're up to 11th in reporting identity theft. Again, identity theft is the largest type of fraud that's reported in about a little over 20% of the cases. Identity theft, we've talked about a lot in our consumer issue sessions. It is where somebody steals your personal information and then goes out and assumes your identity, takes over your, or attempts to take over your identity by going out and getting credit cards, loans, other things. The most important thing that we can encourage people to do is to keep their personal information personal. Do not disclose personal information to what I say is someone you don't know. And you don't know them if they're contacting you by email, if they're contacting you by text message, if they're contacting you over the telephone, if they say who they claim to be, then you don't know them. So do not give out any personal information. And personal information is anything personal to you. Your home address, your telephone number, your bank account numbers, credit card numbers, nothing that's personal to you. Do not give out to someone that you don't know. If you call your doctor's office, in other words, it's not someone calling you saying they're from your doctor's office, but you get on the phone and you call your doctor's office, and for some reason the doctor's office needs some personal identification, because as you can imagine, doctors have a lot of very personal information about us, our health records, what medications we're on, what problems we've had with our health, and they're not able to, under HIPAA, they can't disclose any of that information to someone who is not the patient or someone who the patient has authorized to give out the information. So if you call your doctor, you look up your doctor's number, you call the office and you say, you ask them something about your medical information or records. They may ask for some personal identification so that they know that they're dealing with you and not somebody else. So they may ask for your last four of your social security number. They may ask other similar things. You can be much more comfortable in giving them that information because you contacted them. So you know that you're dealing with them. But if somebody contacts you and claims to be your doctor's office and wants your social security number or wants something else, do not give it out to them. The best way to handle that is to say, I will call you back. Then you look up the number to your doctor's office and you call them. And then if they say, yes, we just called you, then you're much more comfortable in giving out that information. So identity theft is a huge thing. We talk about it, we have sessions on it. I won't go into a lot of the details of that. I'll leave that for those sessions, but just to tell you that that is the number one area of complaints of fraud that are being reported to the Federal Trade Commission. And I will also tell you incidentally that it's also something that our office receives a ton of calls about. So that's the largest. Now the largest group, demographic group that reports identity theft is the 30 to 39 age group, which is interesting. It's not the younger, it's not the older, but the middle-aged type of group. Other areas of types of complaints, imposter scams, I'll get into those in a few minutes, telephone mobile services, prizes and sweepstakes. Hey, congratulations, you just won. Travel, vacations, and timeshare scams. So it runs the whole gambit. I'll refer you to the Federal Trade Commission report. It's available online, and it can provide you with some additional information. Who's one of the most vulnerable groups? Not exclusive, but one of the most vulnerable groups is seniors. As I mentioned, the dollar amount of losses to seniors due to frauds and scams are huge. So we have to watch out for our seniors. Those of you who are seniors and watching this, you must be very careful. There's some reasons why seniors may have such huge dollar losses as it relates to frauds and scams. And that is because seniors, to the extent that they have been able, work through their entire working life and are retired now. So whatever money that they've accumulated to provide for their retirement on top of Social Security or any pension that they might receive from the employer is finite. It's there. It's not going to get any bigger unless it's been invested, but it's there. They have that pool of money. They acquired it to cover their retirement, and so that they have this money, and it's usually liquid. It's usually able to be reached relatively quickly. So scam artists love that because they want somebody that's got money that can be reached very quickly. So they really prey on those types of people. I think seniors also were brought up in a different era. More trusting, less likely to hang up the phone, might believe more likely that someone is calling them, what they're telling them is truthful. They're taught to be polite. Don't hang up the phone, don't slam the doors, will be more willing to listen to somebody's spiel. May not be able to do the things that are around the house, physical work around the house, may not be able to do other things and are vulnerable to those scam artists that are out there. Their faculties may be diminished, may not hear as well, may not remember as well, may get more confused. I'm working on something now where there's seniors who were preyed on by home improvement contractors who went through neighborhoods, and people got confused. They would pay this entity, and then the entity would show up a week later and say, hey, your check bounced, you didn't pay me, you owe me more money, any one of those circumstances, and the person was confused about that and paid them more money. And, it actually happened several times. So seniors can be vulnerable. Also, seniors are notoriously the least likely to report that they've been victimized by a fraud or scam. Don't know what that reason is. They may feel like their family will take away the keys to the car, they'll take away the access to the bank account or whatever, and so they don't report. And we really need to encourage people to try to report. As I mentioned before, identity theft is the number one. Names, addresses, phone numbers, credit cards, bank account numbers, driver's license numbers, mother's maiden name, your first pet's name, your favorite car, all those sorts of things are personal identifiers. Anything that you might use to answer a security question, for those of you that are on the internet and have to set, you get an account online and you have to set a password. In order to recover your password, you need answers to security questions. Any of the answers to those security questions, those whole host of security questions, is personal identifiable information that you need to keep to yourself. Usually the identity theft is a result of an attempt to make a financial gain for somebody, maybe apply for credit in your name, evade bank accounts, get you to go out and get the gift cards and give them the numbers and cash those gift cards in. Most of those identity thefts occur, again, over phone solicitations, can be also through websites and emails. So it's really important that we protect our personal information, never give out personal identification information, again, to someone you don't know. Shred papers that you don't need that have personal information on them. Shredders are very inexpensive nowadays, and just run the documents through the shredder. Don't throw them, just wad them up and throw them in the recycle bin or in the trash. Make sure that you destroy them. You know, it's also becoming more a recent phenomenon that seniors are becoming much more involved in social media. When you think of social media, you think of young people. Oh, those young people, they're on social media and I don't get involved. But seniors are becoming much more used to using places like Facebook and Twitter and all these different social medias. I'm not even on Instagram and all these. But seniors are becoming a little more comfortable in using those things so that they can post things. The thing that I can encourage you is do not post anything that is of a personal nature to you that you don't want somebody else seeing. I encourage people that if they're going on vacation, don't post your pictures until you get back, because that's a tip-off to somebody that you're not home. So yeah, post your best vacation we ever had, see the picture of this, that, and the other thing. Do that, but wait till you get back. Don't be posting things while you're out there doing it, because you're just tipping people off. Also, we encourage people to get a copy of their credit report each year. We can get one for free from each of the 3 credit reporting agencies. Annualcreditreport.com. That's one word. Annualcreditreport.com is the way to do that. So that's kind of identity theft. But there are others out there, and one that I mentioned before, which is a big one that's going on, which is what I refer to as imposter scams. Scams that someone calls up and they are an imposter. They try to make you think that they are somebody important or somebody affiliated with some company or something, and when they actually aren't. There's a whole host of different ways that imposters contact us. The classic one that we hear about, especially for seniors, is the grandparent scam. Grandparent scam where somebody calls up and says, "Hi, Grandma," or "Hi, Grandpa, this is your favorite grandson." And the grandmother and grandfather don't quite pick up on the voice, or that someone sounds just like their grandchild. And they say, "Oh, Tommy, is that you?" "Yes, it's Tommy." And it's usually an ask for money. One scenario is Grandma was with some friends and we were driving somewhere, we got pulled over, and one of the other kids that I was with had drugs on them, so everybody in the car got arrested, so I really need some money to bail myself out. And it comes in different ways. It could be the grandchild calling, it could be them even elaborately handing the phone to somebody else who says that they're the sheriff deputy, and that they have this person, their grandchild, and they need to have you send money to bail them out. That is a scam. Do not fall for it. I would say that you contact your grandchild, or you contact your grandchild's parent, your child, to find out what's going on. Even if the person on the other line says, "Don't call my parents, I'll be in so much trouble." Call the parents. Call the parents. I can't tell you the number of times that people have reported to us that they have called their child to find about their grandchild, and the parent of the child says, the parent of the grandchild says, "Oh, he or she's sitting right over here." Or, "No, he's not there, he's off somewhere else." So it's usually, if you just communicate with somebody else, that you'll find out that it's a scam. People, even in our region, Tompkins County, Broome County, Chemung County, have fallen victim to this sort of thing and sent out thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars as a result of this. Another type of imposter scam is the IRS scam, where people calling saying, Mrs. Smith, this is the Internal Revenue Service calling. You owe $2,853, and in order to avoid a revenue agent coming to your house this afternoon to arrest you, you must pay this amount immediately. Then you get into the old, go down to Walmart and get X number of dollars of gift cards and call us back so that we can take care of this to avoid somebody arresting. They are imposters. The IRS does not operate that way. You would receive a letter from them. You could contact the IRS and they would be able to tell you whether or not there's a problem with you owing outstanding taxes. But again, another quote. Same thing with debt collectors. Mrs. Jones, you owe an outstanding bill of X number of dollars, and if you don't pay immediately, we'll have you arrested. Well, first thing is, you probably don't owe the money. And you probably sit there saying, I don't owe any money. But you don't want your credit ruined. You don't want to be arrested. So they have you go to your bank and wire money out or go get gift cards, take care of this. You cannot be arrested for owing money. Bottom line, we don't have debtors' prisons anymore. That was a long time ago. So don't fall for that sort of thing. They frequently ask for payments, either cash cards or wired funds or something like that. As soon as that is happening, immediately run the other way. Do not fall victim for that, those sorts of things. Another one that is big that we're hearing about all the time are computer technical services. People are getting emails or other messages saying, we're from Microsoft, just for example. It could be others, but say it's Microsoft. We have just discovered that there's this terrible virus upon your computer, and that in order for us to fix that sort of thing, all you need to do is click here. Don't click here. Or somebody calls you on the telephone. This is so-and-so from Microsoft, and there's a problem with your computer, and you need to go to your computer and get on, and we can help you fix this. Otherwise, there's terrible, terrible things that are going to happen if you don't get your computer fixed right this minute. And what happens is people go to their computers and they log on, and they're in communication with this person on the telephone. And what they will end up doing by clicking on things is provide the person they're talking to on the telephone with access to their computer. And that's the last thing that you want to do. They can put malware on your computer. They can put keyloggers on your computer, which is just a program that can identify what keys are being hit. And if you are banking, using the computer to do your banking, they can see when you go onto your computer or go onto your bank's website, and they can see what buttons you're clicking in order to enter your username and password. And then once they have it, they can enter under your name. So stay away from providing that information to anybody. Another imposter scam that we're seeing are romance and online dating scams, where people fall in love on the internet, where they're communicating with someone, they talk to them on the telephone, although they never have met them personally. The person they're talking with every day, several times a day, hours at a time, is not someone they really know. They think they know them because they've talked to them a number of times. They fall in love. I have had people call our office and have said that they've had a problem because they're trying to get their fiance over to the United States. And they sent the fiance money to pay to come here. But there's something wrong with the funds going through, and they call our office claiming that there's an issue with the funds. There's no issue with the funds. It's a scam. And the person who they're online chatting with and their friend online, fiance, love interest, is actually perpetrating a scam. And they've sent the money, the person's received the money, and they're just attempting to get more money. They're attempting to get more money by an additional expense cropped up, or, I never got that money. Can you send it again? They got the money. They just want you to send it again to get it again. So I guess the good rule of thumb is don't fall in love with someone until you have met them face to face and have engaged with them face to face for some period of time. The internet romances, and I know that people are using all types of dating apps to meet people, and that's great. But go out and meet them, and sit down with them, and talk with them. Don't just engage over the internet, and then they start asking for money. Another one is people who claim to be affiliated with charities or any other companies. So somebody claiming to raise charitable funds, and they're imposters, and they're just trying to get you to send them money. Do not send any money to someone contacting you in that fashion. Ask for things to be sent to you in writing if it's a charity, and that you can investigate the charity. We do a whole session on charitable solicitation scams, and I'll leave that to one of those sessions. But legitimate entities that are raising funds in New York are required to be registered with the New York State Attorney General's office, our Charities Bureau. And we have a charities website, charitiesnys.com, or just put in whatever your search engine is and type in New York State Attorney General's office, the Charities Bureau, and you'll get to the charities website. They have to be registered with our office, and they have to file annual financial reports. And you can go on our website and you can actually look at their financial reports to see how much of their money is actually going toward the charitable purpose for which they're raising the funds. Avoid those types of things. Another area of where consumer scams are still occurring, maybe in a different form than it used to be 20-some years ago when I first started doing these talks. And that is, could be on email solicitation as compared to just getting something in the mail, although it could come in the mail as well. Congratulations, you won. You get a telephone call. Congratulations, you won. You can claim your prize. When I first started doing this, it was before the fake check scams started kicking in and people were being sent checks. It was just a solicitation. So congratulations. In order to claim your prize, all you have to do is pay a certain amount of money to claim your prize. It could be insurance, it could be taxes, it could be handling charges, whatever. Send money to receive money. That's a scam. You never have to send money or spend money to receive a sweepstakes or lottery winning. So don't fall victim to that. Don't send money to receive money, regardless of the fact that it may be a fancy publication receipt, notifications from armored car companies asking for how you want your money delivered, or letters purporting to be from your bank asking you how you want the money sent. Legitimate sweepstakes do not operate that way. And one fundamental thing that you can ask yourself with sweepstakes scams is, before you claim your prize, is ask yourself, did I ever enter this sweepstakes? Did I ever put in a form to claim the sweepstakes? That's number one thing. If you didn't enter, it's tough to win. But don't ever send money to receive money. That's a good rule of thumb with those. Other types of scams, charitable solicitations, I've mentioned, people calling, asking for donations, send a child to a circus, send cash to help this cause, that cause. This is one of the areas where the scams are really updated. It's based on what's going on in your area. If there was a natural disaster in your particular area, you can expect there to be charitable solicitations. So the scam artists know that, hey, there's going to be charitable solicitations for this particular storm that came through. So I'm going to go online and start calling and start sending emails or calling people, asking them to make donations to help people that were victimized by this storm. And when you get those solicitations, we all want to help, but really we don't know who it is that's soliciting these things. We recommend that you stick with people that are reputable in your area in collecting those types of funds and donate to them. Then you know it's going to a legitimate purpose. A huge new way that people are using to raise money is through crowdfunding. There's all types of crowdfunding scams that are out there. But there are entities, websites that you can go to actually raise funds. One big one is GoFundMe.com. There's Kickstarter, there's Indiegogo. There's a whole bunch of those that are out there. And that way people can, crowdfunding means a crowd can get together and raise funds virtually. And that's what happens with these. And many are legitimate. I've donated to funds online through these sites. And you have to know, though, who are the legitimate ones and who are not the legitimate ones. Make sure you research who the creator of the fundraising campaign is, what it's for. Look to see if the project that funds are being raised for are realistic and legitimate. One of the big things is don't let your emotions get the best of you. Don't be blinded before donating monies. Legitimate sources are out there. Make sure you do some investigation before you donate your hard-earned money for those particular causes. Investment scams, another scam that people are being contacted to invest in the next greatest thing, and we're caught up and we see the newspaper and the news about how this particular business or tech company is going to be on the rise and it's going to double in value in 60 days. Understand, there are many professionals, professional investment people who are out there. And don't think that they know much more than you and I of what the real legitimate businesses are that are really growing. Don't be caught up in the emails that sent to you saying, wow, this company's going to explode and you can get it in the bottom floor right now. Stick to reputable investments and reputable investment advisors for those things. Otherwise, you're going to be victimized. Home improvement scams is another area. We're hearing about those. Now's the time of year when people are having home improvements done. Be a good consumer. Go out, get estimates, talk to people who have used businesses to do their home improvements. I read somewhere, now that we're still in the middle of this pandemic, I read somewhere that people are spending more time and more money on home improvement projects now. They have a little more time on their hands. Just be very careful about who you use. Make sure you use reputable people. Make sure that you Don't put large deposits down for projects. No legitimate contractor is going to be looking for 80% or 100% of the money up front. If that's the case, I would be very wary, because in some of those instances, the reason why they need most or all of the money up front is that they don't have credit with their supplier. And if somebody doesn't have credit with their supplier, that should trigger warning signs. If they have to walk in and hand cash to their supply house to get needed materials, that should tell you something. Most of the legitimate ones have credit where they have a period of time, 30, 60 days or whatever, to pay their bills, so they go in and purchase it and then finish the job, you pay them, and then they go pay that off. So be very careful about that. Some places, if it's a small job, be done in a day, they don't even ask for money up front, and they'll just say, you just pay me when it's done. Fine, then at least you know what got done. Whereas if you paid 80% and then the contractor never shows up, then you got the problem. So be very careful about that. Other types of incidental scams, the Nigerian letter, which is a letter that essentially, it's got its own name, but it doesn't have to be out of Nigeria. It could be other areas where they're saying that they have, it's usually a third world country where they say that they've accumulated some money. They were a former government minister and the government was overthrown, but then they took money out of the government and they want to use you as a mule, so to speak, to carry the money for them. They want to put it in your bank account. It's a scam. Don't follow through on it. Those are the types of things that are out there to be wary of. Make sure to protect yourself. And a really good rule of thumb is, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Don't fall for it. Investigate it. Make sure that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Give yourself time to make a rational decision. Don't make the immediate decision. Falling back to what I said earlier, never send money to receive money. Don't send it out to receive it. Review all of your credit card statements and bank statements as soon as they arrive. Review them meticulously. Do not take the adage that close is good enough. My bank statement looks about what it should be, or my credit card statement looks about what it should be. Go through every charge and make sure every one is yours. Because if it isn't, it could be the start of a scam that's being perpetrated against you. Get a copy of your credit report, like I mentioned before, in your creditreport.com. Make sure that everything on there is yours and that there aren't any outstanding accounts that are not yours. And look out for your friends and family. See how they're doing. Make sure that they're being protected as well. If you believe that you have been victimized by a fraud, or if you know of someone who might be been victimized by a fraud or a scam, tell someone immediately. Tell family, tell the police, tell bank personnel. If there's a charge on your credit card that you do not know is yours or you question, call your credit card company. They're aware of these things. I was just talking to a friend of mine just the other day where he had a charge show up on his credit card that he did not know about, and he immediately got on with his credit card company. They figured out that it wasn't his, and they shut his card down and were issuing him a new check, new credit card. They frequently involve this thing. You are not making it inconvenient for someone. Oh, I don't want to bother them. That's what they're there for. Contact them. Stop it immediately. And it will, these problems don't go away. They just get larger. And the best way that you can do that is by reporting it to someone immediately and following their recommendations to how to follow through. If you are doing this, you could be helping someone else avoid these types of escape. If you believe that you have been victimized by some type of identity theft, you can actually contact the 3 credit reporting agencies of TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and report it. And that you can freeze your credit report. You can put an alert on your credit report so that if somebody then tries to apply for credit in your name, that alert will be on there. And the credit offerer, say the credit card company that may want to offer a credit card, may say, whoa, 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 we're not going to issue that credit card to this person because it looks like on the consumer's credit report, they've indicated that there's been a potential identity theft situation. So make sure that that gets reported. If you ever need any additional information regarding these or any other types of scams, you can feel free to contact our office, the New York State Attorney General's office. If you call our 800 number, which I'll give you in a second, if you call that number in the Ithaca area, it will ring, or in the 607 area code. It will ring in our office in Binghamton, and that is 1-800-771-7755. If you want to call us locally, it's 607-251-2770. We would be glad to answer your questions. We have a consumer representative on staff who can answer your questions, give you guidance, provide you with a complaint form, or direct you to online where you can file a complaint online with our office. If you file a complaint online, it will end up, if it's from this area, you're from this area and the merchant's from the area, that it will go to, it'll get funneled to the Binghamton Regional Office, our office, and we can handle those. I hope that this provides valuable information to you. Again, if you are so inclined, when we do start physical operations again, we're at 615 Willow Avenue on the second Thursday of the month at 11 a.m., Cornell Cooperative Extension in Tompkins County. And until that time, we will be doing these sessions virtually. If you have any questions, you can contact our office or you can contact Cornell Extension. So I thank you very much. I'm going to hand it back to Kenneth, and he can let us know if we've had any questions. Otherwise, I hope to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mike. I want to thank everybody for participating and checking this out online. We would like to encourage you to make sure you follow us on Facebook as well as our website, ccetompkins.org, to find information about when we'll be doing our next presentation. Mike already said it's going to be the second Thursday of each month, and hopefully we will see you then. Thank you very much and have a great day.